Hi everybody, Christopher Benevento here, attorney at law with the Benevento Law Firm in Northern New Jersey. So we have a question, what to do at a DWI stop? And I'm going to tell you this is a very common question. I get this a lot. And so we'll go over some things that you could do to try to protect yourself if you, God forbid, are pulled over and are drinking. I'm going to forward this a little bit. There we go. Okay, so number one, don't drink and drive. That's the number one thing. I would never encourage drinking and driving, but it does happen, and I do handle a lot of DWI cases. And I'm going to say DWI and DUI interchangeably because in New Jersey, in this state, it's the same thing. It's the same charge, same statute. Some people say DWI, some people say DUI. The actual statute is operating a motor vehicle under the influence, and that could be drugs or alcohol. So what happens? All right, first, it's typically not a DWI stop in the very beginning. All right, think of it that way. They're stopping you for some other reason. A tail light is out. You failed to use a signal. You ran a red light, ran a stop sign. You did something in order to initiate the stop. Now, again, sometimes every once in a while you get an officer that pulls somebody over for no reason, and it's because they're fishing. But that's very rare. Okay, that is very rare. Officers don't like just pulling people over for no reason. And I know that there's no official quotas, and that's depending on which officer you talk to, on whether or not there's a quota on getting DWI stops or tickets that they have to write. You're probably going to get different stories. But officially, there's no quotas for them to have to write a certain amount of tickets or get a certain amount of DWI arrests. So the initial stop is going to be based on something that they perceive that you did that violated the motor vehicle laws in New Jersey. They're going to come up to you. They're going to ask for your license, registration, and insurance, which you have to provide. Okay. Now they may ask you a few questions. All right. Where are you coming from? Where are you going? Do you know why I stopped you? What's that over there? Do you have any weapons or drugs in the car? You don't have to answer any of those questions. All right. What I suggest you always do is be nice. All right. Be polite. But you can politely say, I don't feel comfortable answering any questions, officer. I'm sorry. That's probably the best way to go about it. Now, the officer's not going to be happy about it, but that's the way it is. They're going to, probably bring your paperwork back to their car, look to see if you have any active warrants, if your license is suspended, if everything's on the up and up, and come back with some tickets they wrote you. They may ask you to step outside the vehicle. So if they smell alcohol or it looks like you've been fumbling for your keys or your paperwork or slurring your words, your face is red, your eyes are bloodshot, any of those signs, they could ask you to step outside the vehicle, and they're going to ask you to participate in the field sobriety test. All right, and they'll probably tell you something along the lines of, I'm going to give you a few exercises to do, and just to make sure you're okay to go home and you're okay to drive. That's the line that we hear a lot, okay? And people end up participating in this exercise because they think they're going to do well, and the officer's going to let them go. These exercises are called the standard field sobriety test. I don't believe in them. Most criminal defense attorneys don't believe in them. They're only about 65% accurate or so in the best of circumstances. And usually it's not the best of circumstances. The ground can be uneven, lights in your face, it's the middle of the night, cars are flying by you and you're concentrating on that. Meanwhile, the officer's firing out a ton of instructions to you, which you have to follow. It's not always the best scenario or the best environment. So, in my opinion, these exercises are designed for you to fail. And you don't have to take part in them. Now, understand that if you are arrested for a DWI, even without the exercises, the judge can take that as a negative inference that you didn't participate in the field sobriety test. So what? That's what I say. So what? I would say, officer, I'm not going to participate in those exercises. He may arrest you, he may not. Understand that everything that he's doing is in order for him to build probable cause for the arrest. So once he has enough probable cause, they're going to place you under arrest and they're going to bring you back to the station. All right. They're going to ask you a lot of questions. How much did you drink tonight? What did you eat? When's the last time you ate? When's the last time you drank? Did you use any drugs? I say don't answer any of those questions. All right. At that point, you're under arrest already. There's almost nothing that you could do to stop from being charged with a DUI. So I would not answer any of those questions. The one thing that you do have to do is participate in the breath test. Okay, everybody calls it the breathalyzer. We actually use another machine called the Alcotest machine. That machine's probably going the way of the dinosaur. So it'll be called something else. But you have to participate in that test, and I'll tell you why. In New Jersey, we have a thing called the implied consent law. Okay, that there's a statute out there that states that if you're operating a motor vehicle on the public roadways, that you implicitly give your consent to giving a breath sample if you're arrested for operating a motor vehicle under the influence. So if you don't give a breath sample, you're going to be charged with the same exact it's a different statute, but it has the same exact penalties as a DUI. That's how they get you. So the better way to handle this is give them a breath sample, participate in the breath test, and hire an attorney to fight it and challenge the reliability of those results later on. That's the way to do it, okay? Because if you get charged with a DUI and you don't give the breath test, they're going to charge you with a DUI and what's called a refusal charge. You get charged with both of those, you're facing some serious penalties. Well, there's somebody getting pulled over now, probably. I better get my phone ready. But basically, give them your paperwork. Be polite. Don't answer any questions. Don't participate in the standard field sobriety test, those roadside exercises. Don't answer any questions back at the station. Participate in the breath test. Give a breath sample. And that's it. All right? That's the best way to handle it. And then hire an attorney. Because, it's hard to fight those breath test results, but it's also very hard to prosecute using as evidence those breath test results. There's a lot of paperwork, a lot of foundational evidence that has to go into those machines. So, my advice is let us fight it and put the pressure on the state to prosecute. All right? If you have any other questions, let us know.